Welcome to our show. You're listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections, a place to learn about and celebrate creative arts therapy. Each week, we'll explore new ways that music, art, and dance can reach, connect with, and help individuals of all stages of health and wellness. Hi, I'm Bree, Beynon, a board-certified music therapist and the managing partner for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. Tune in as I interview professionals from healthcare and educational backgrounds on the impact of the creative arts. If you prefer to watch our live video stream, simply visit www.pbmti.com. Hello, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. We're so glad you're here. I'm your host, Bree Beynon, a board-certified music therapist and certified neurologic music therapist working here locally in South Florida with the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. If this is your first time joining us, we're so glad you're tuning in tonight. We spend 1 hour a week, every Wednesday evening, shining a light on some creative approaches to healthcare and education. We talk a lot about the creative arts therapies, including music, art, dance, and movement. And we also talk to different professionals and volunteers throughout the area who are using their passion for the arts to reach people in new ways and in different therapeutic ways. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight with Judy Simon later in the program. She is a ballroom dancer who took her passion for dance and her passion for helping others in the healthcare industry and combined those loves and really created an amazing program. I just got a chance to meet with her for the first time last week as we've kind of been running into each other throughout the community without knowing each other, working in some of the same areas and really getting to hear about some of the incredible results that are happening when music and dance are being brought into adult daycare centers, assisted living facilities, and some of these more isolated environments where there's not a whole lot of exposure to the arts. We get to see more and more of that. It's growing in our community, which is so exciting. So all that to say, I'm really, really happy to introduce you to Judy later in the program. I didn't even realize until we talked all the connections that she actually has to the field of music therapy. Some really cool things. If you are a music therapist or familiar with the field, you're going to recognize some names as we talk later in the program of some trailblazers in our field that Judy has worked closely with, which is really, really exciting. So we're going to be talking about what that looks like when you take a passion for something in your life and you decide, I really want to use this to help others, to make a difference in our community. Not unlike talking to Melissa last week with Go Coastal Studio. From this love she had of just art, it just made her happy. She wondered how she could use it to make others happy and to use it as a way to give back to charity. That program, as with every program that we have, is stored on our website, archived at pbmti.com/connections. If you are listening on the radio and you would prefer to watch, you're not driving, you're safely at home, you can actually watch a live stream of our show there as well. Now, there is a change coming up to that. We are going to be switching next week that our live stream will be available via our Facebook page. You'll still have all of the shows archived on our website, but you can watch the show live from Facebook. And again, that will be at Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute, our Facebook page there. So feel free, as always, to interact with us on social media. We're also on Twitter at PBMTI. And you can always call into the show, 888-565-1470. We would love to hear from you. So as I mentioned, Judy and I have been hearing each other's names throughout the community. We're both very passionate about working with individuals with neurodegenerative disorders, especially those living with Alzheimer's disease. So what's kind of cool is Judy's also involved in the walks. If you listen to this show every week, you know that I promote this a lot. We're talking about music and movement today. Movement is really, really important. And one way we can show our support and get moving and get healthy for ourselves is by signing up for a walk. So if you're not local in the area, please just get on alz.org/walk, and look up your local walk. Ours, West Palm, is October 8th. I'm going to let Judy talk about the walk up north that she's associated with in a little bit. But all of ours are about the same time, late September, October, early November, here in the South Florida area, we have a really cool fundraiser coming up that our guest today, Judy, has organized. We're going to talk in detail about it later. But just to put it on your radar for now, it's watch local stars. Again, here we are in South Florida. Compete for a cause. It's Dancing with the Stars of Palm Beach. I've talked about this before. I can hardly stand it. We're less than a week away from Dancing with the Stars premiere. I am obsessed with this show. I can't handle it. I never know any of these stars going in, and by the end, they're all my favorite celebrity that ever existed. I love it. I love the transformation that people make just by trying something new, by learning something new, by challenging themselves and sharing their story through dance. It's like if I could have one magic genie wish, I just want to be one of these dancers. So anyways, I am going to be so excited to see some folks that I know from the community, one of them being Marcia Teal, who does a show at this station, stretch their wings, their movement and dance wings with Dancing with the Stars of Palm Beach, a benefit for the Alzheimer's Association and the Alzheimer's Project, which you're going to learn a lot about today. That is Thursday, September 22nd, 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. at the Beynon Women's Club. That address is 1010 South Federal Highway in Boynton Beach. Tickets must be purchased in advance for $50 at eventbrite.com. Tickets will not be sold at the door. So you need to go to eventbrite.com, look up Dancing with the Stars of Palm Beach. It's a benefit, again, for the Alzheimer's Association and for the Alzheimer's Project. And you may see some folks that you know. There's some individuals from the healthcare world and also other places in the community. I'm going to talk to Judy about it a little bit later, as she is one of the organizers of this event. But that's really, really exciting. If you were listening to the program before us, you just heard a great interview with Alexa, who is putting on the Women Empower Expo 2016. And I wanted to give you a little more info about this as well. If you happen to be listening, you are in the creative arts field, there are a lot of us who are young women. We do make up at least 85% of the music therapy field. So I imagine that's pretty similar for the other fields as well. We, again, do not learn these business traits in school. We learn our therapeutic skills, our counseling skills, clearly our music skills or art and dance skills, but we don't learn how to run a business. And one of the best ways that I think to really get immersed in that world is to meet up with like-minded people who are out there doing the same thing that you're doing and that are doing it well and learning together and finding a mentor. So this looks to me like a really cool opportunity to meet some like-minded people, find out what they're doing in the community, find out how women are changing the business world. This is so cool. So this is October 15th, 2016, obviously, at Fort Lauderdale, Broward County Convention Center from 10 to 5. This is the Women Empower Expo of South Florida. Very, very cool. So today, we are focused on music and movement and the power of that and why these two mediums are so impactful when it comes to working with seniors, especially those that are living with neurodegenerative diseases and their caregivers as well. As many of you know, if you work in healthcare or you're currently going through this situation with as you're a patient yourself or with a loved one, that the caregivers are a very important component to this. And Judy and I are actually going to be speaking at a caregiver symposium put on by the Alzheimer's Association this Friday at 9:30. I know my schedule. At 9:30 at the Kane Center. Wonderful. I'll be there. So we're going to talk about that as well today. Really cool opportunity to share about a lot about what we're going to talk about today, the importance of having music and movement in our lives. You don't need to be working with a music or a dance therapist to be doing this. We're just going to give some really cool tips about how just integrating music itself and rhythm into your everyday life, what a difference that will make for your loved one and for you, the caregiver. So if you have any questions for us about any of these topics we're going to talk to about today, again, don't be afraid to reach out, 888-565-1470. We are on Twitter, PBMTI, and we always love to hear from you on our Facebook page, Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. Before we head to our first commercial break and I get to introduce you to my wonderful guest today, have to do my weekly sing-along. So I thought it would be very appropriate as we're talking about dance and movement today to do a little classic Broadway, taking it back to My Fair Lady. Yeah, My Fair Lady. Had to think about that. With I Could Have Danced All Night. I could have danced all night. I could have danced all night and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and in 1,000 things I've never done before. I'll never know what made it so exciting. Why all at once my heart took flight. I only know when he began to dance with me, I could have danced all night. I only know when he began to dance with me, I could have danced all night. Stick around. After this quick commercial break, I'm going to introduce you to Judy Simon, the founder of the Alzheimer's Project. Thanks so much.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer, Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree Beynon. I am so excited to introduce my guest tonight. Judy Simon is here with me. Thank you so much for being here, Judy.
Thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure. I know you are no stranger to this room and other radio stations because, of course, I imagine as people meet you and find out what you're doing, everyone wants to learn more. It's so exciting. So thrilled to have you on the show tonight. Clearly, it was a natural connection that we made as we both are active in the arts, wanting to bring the arts to the community, specifically to seniors. So how did you come to this place? I know your background is in dance and in healthcare. How did that lead you to where you are today?
Well, I'm a transplant from New York and arrived here in Florida in January. I sold a healthcare company that I owned for a good 29 years and loved working with all the disciplines that I worked with, and a special a special affinity to people living with Alzheimer's and dementia. I also had a strong background in the fitness arena and taught fitness for 33 years, even though I'm 25. And yes, and so I kind of put those two together because I love both areas, and I was able to, mesh the two. I started ballroom dancing in 2010, and a dear friend of mine actually introduced me to ballroom dancing when the agency that I own was helping her husband, who was critically ill. And I said, no, I'm not getting involved. I'm finished. I'm just going to work out as I please, and here I am. So I started dancing, and actually there was really no scientific evidence to state the benefits of ballroom dancing and the way it can, absolutely help those living with Alzheimer's disease. But in 2012, at the International Alzheimer's Conference, there was a poster presentation specific to ballroom dancing and how it helps to increase the volume of the hippocampus, which is what controls all those necessary things to get us to move and create and just come out of our
my favorite
the
part of the
darkness,
brain.
right?
Yeah.
That's how the whole thing really got started. There was a project that I had started previously that it was a great project, but just not ready because the evidence just didn't happen. And that was actually involved one of the wonderful people that you mentioned, Dr. Connie Tomeno, who I have the wonderful privilege of being working with and being exposed to and really learning so much from her and the Institute. And we had developed a music therapy program, and we were fortunate enough to implement that program in Northern Westchester Hospital in New York, in Westchester County. And the hospital actually won a Plane Tree Award for that amazing, amazing program.
And for those who aren't familiar, what are the qualifications for that award? What does that include?
The Plane Tree hospitals, at the time, there were 11 Plane Tree hospitals in the country, and those are hospitals that believe in, which now is kind of like a buzzword in the healthcare arena, inpatient-centered care and alternative methods for, enhancing and helping someone living with actually any disease.
Sure.
So that particular program addressed several disciplines in the hospital, on a med-surg floor, on behavioral health, where the results were just amazing, how music and drumming, and there was a decrease in medication, in mood, and people just, they were different. They were different. And, all this was documented. So it was very, very exciting. And on the cancer floor also. We also did the program with those living with dementia in one of the adult daycare centers, and with a group called Abilities. It's now called Abilities Beyond. At the time, it was called Abilities Beyond Disabilities. And one of the most beautiful stories was that there was a young man who did not speak. And after 6 months in the program, he started talking. So, I still get the chills when I think about that moment. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. And I feel very lucky and honored to have been able to work with such amazing people.
Absolutely. And we're going to kind of go through that a little bit more in detail later and talk about Dr. Tomeno, who, again, if you are familiar with the field of music therapy, or even follow the work of Dr. Oliver Sacks and all of his writings, that name will probably sound fairly familiar to you. So we're going to talk a bit more about her influence in all of this later. But I guess, honestly, and we met for like 3 hours the other day, and I didn't realize how short of a time you've actually been involved in ballroom dancing. I mean, I just kind of assumed from all the amazing things you've shared of the traveling and partners and all this experience, it'd been like a lifelong. adventure?
Well, I've started dancing like most girls when I was a young girl, and actually was learned a formal Russian ballet, so which was certainly very different than ballroom dancing. We certainly didn't shake our hips and weren't allowed to move our hips, or and not only that, but just partnering was not part of a ballet, unless you did partner with somebody. But most oftentimes, you dance by yourself.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different way of dancing and acting and reacting, to someone, which is why ballroom dancing has such an amazing impact on people that are living with Alzheimer's, because they have to react to the cue that you're giving them. I think for me, one of the most amazing experiences is when you work with people. Their loss of language happens so quickly, and the connection and the beauty of ballroom dancing that makes it so special is that dance is nonverbal communication, and you can communicate with anybody non-verbally. So it has quite an impact and a result of just reaching out, stopping, your facial expressions, your gestures, you're interacting with those people physically, emotionally, spiritually, in every possible way, and they react to you in a very, very positive way. Even the most negative person, eventually you can get that person to participate.
And I love that you focus on the verbal versus nonverbal, because that can be such a frustrating thing for those who are living with expressive aphasia. They mean to say one thing and one other thing comes out. And if they're aware of it, how frustrating and embarrassing that can be. So to take the pressure and almost like the threatening nature of having to have a verbal conversation with someone out of the picture, it oftentimes will open up the opportunity for verbal communication later, because that anxiety surrounded around, I'm going to say the wrong thing, is now the focus is off of that.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. So even though the focus may be on that nonverbal connection, that really is like a byproduct of it.
Well, that's what makes ballroom dancing so unique to this particular, disease, because it's just all nonverbal communication. And the fact that, as you mentioned, that the arts are finally being recognized as a way of communicating and healing, and it doesn't matter what the disease is, it finally happened.
Yeah.
And that, for me, and I'm sure for you, is very, very exciting.
It's very, very exciting, yes. And that we have a platform like this to share it with the nation, and whoever's listening is so exciting. Because as we both know, we could sit and talk about this all day.
Yeah.
It's our passion. This is
And
what we
have.
love. And we have. We've actually already done that.
We
We could do it again, for sure. What brought you to really, like, I know that you said in 2010 you had gotten into dance, you'd had the healthcare background, but what really motivated you to formalize this and really kind of create something that would help others beyond just interesting you?
Well, first of all, I believe in it. I know it's a very positive impact on people. I know the benefits of it. And when Dr. Beynon, myself, and Dr. Jacobs back in New York, a neurologist that I had worked with, we had kind of formed this concept, but it just wasn't the right time. So I kind of kept it on the back burner. When I started dancing, and the announcement was made that there was the evidence, I just said, okay, I'm going to run with it. I was fortunate enough to bring it to the National Dance Council of America, which governs the ballroom community, and they loved the idea.
That's awesome.
I was allowed to, use their logo and just promote and do it. So I did.
Yeah. Absolutely, with an endorsement like that. How could you
it was
not?
very exciting. Very exciting.
You know, there's a lot of individuals, especially working with this particular diagnosis. Many of us are, I even made a comment as we're sitting out here. A lot of songs I know are from the 1940s and 50s because that is the strongest era of musical memories for these individuals who are in their 80s and early 90s. But it is not just an older person's disease. It's not. Which is scary, which is why you and I are so active in this.
It's very scary. I think the numbers are staggering in early onset of Alzheimer's and dementia. It's very, very frightening to people. You see people, that are in their, sometimes even as early as their early 40s, late 40s, that are being diagnosed. And sad to say, I've been in particular memory care, units where there are people that are really in late stages in their 50s and 60s.
Yeah. So my question to you is, with that, the kind of World War II vet generation, dance is an easy sell. I mean, it is just like, that is their primary. This is what we did when we came home. We went out dancing. This was what we did to come together.
If you think about it, where we are in our mother's womb, we're moving and we're dancing. We're always
makes so much sense.
We're moving all the time. As soon as you're born and brought into the world, you're cradled and people sing to you and you're rocked back and forth. So it's something that just happens. It's part of our culture.
It makes
it's
so
part
much
of
sense.
our culture.
And so
it's part of any culture.
And so that answers my question right there. Say, if someone's doesn't have that strong connection from their era, it doesn't matter the age because they have that.
It doesn't matter because there are many articles that say dancing, you dance. There's no right or wrong way. Like people, if you ask someone to dance, they'll say, oh, I don't know how to dance.
Sure.
And that's not true. Everybody knows how to dance. It's your interpretation of whatever music is playing.
I love it. And we're gonna expand more on that in just a moment. We're gonna take a quick commercial break. We got back more with Judy Simon, the founder of the Alzheimer's Project. The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com, engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. Our theme tonight is on music and movement. Certainly, we don't have to be of a certain age or from a certain culture or have any certain stage of health or wellness to know the impact of music and movement on our lives. But we are focusing on today working with those who are living with Alzheimer's disease, specifically, and other neurodegenerative disorders. My guest today, Judy Simon, is a ballroom dancer and also the founder of the Alzheimer's Project. Again, thank you so much for being here, Judy. So we've talked a little bit about your background as owning a home care business and kind of exploring, spreading your wings a bit more, starting as a ballerina and moving into ballroom dance and the difference there. And I just love how you say not just all dance, but you're really focused on why specifically ballroom dance is so special and unique to working with these individuals. And out of that, through working with others through the Institute for Music and Neurologic Function, which we're going to talk more about. You have developed this curriculum, because criteria for working with this is so exciting. So if you want to introduce that idea a little bit.
Yeah, we, once everything was kind of a go, I was lucky enough to work with some professional dancers out in California, Diane Jarmelo and Brandy Solik, and I hope I pronounced her name correctly. And we actually wrote a professional workbook syllabus. And in the syllabus, we talk about what it's like to live with Alzheimer's, what, the kind of the do's and don'ts, how we have to approach people. If someone wants to work in this particular field, it's not for everybody, and I stress that you have to be enormously sensitive to everything that you might encounter, and the different types of dementia that people have,
Sure.
from Lewy body to frontal lobe to Parkinsonian, and all the reactions are different depending upon how that person is brain affected with the disease. So that being said, the beginning part of the syllabus talks about the disease itself, how we communicate with people, through touch, through eye contact, through the tone of our voice, which is so important. And if you think about it, most of this really relates to the way we might communicate with people in our everyday
Sure.
in our everyday life.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't change, because the one thing that I feel very strongly about and stress, because it's true, is that the one thing that you can't take away from anyone are their feelings. And people that are living with this disease feel very deeply, and they communicate through their feelings. And that's very special and very touching.
It absolutely is. And I think I shared this with you before, but several months ago, we did have a dance and movement therapist on the program who worked in addiction recovery. And she was sharing about this exercise that she did with everyone was asked to come up with a movement, and then the entire group would mirror that movement back to them.
Absolutely.
Again, taking that focus off the verbal.
Right.
Even though they have the ability to have verbal, it may not always be comfortable, particularly in a setting like that. And I was so moved by that. And I just kind of imagine that in the setting that you're sharing with as well. It's just how powerful.
There's no right or wrong. Whatever you do is fine. Oftentimes I will actually start in a particular group and not say anything. I'll just say to them, okay, follow me. So if I reach or extend the hand or my hand and say, come on a little further, you will watch them. Their facial expressions tell everything, and that you can really read that person, so well from their body language, from their expressions, and they grow and they blossom. You put on a familiar song, because music never leaves our brain, as you know. It just stays intact. And I think we're just science kind of discovering, why more and more and more. But it's something that never leaves. It's just stored in the brain. So you can hit that one song, that one beat, that one measure, and even if someone is sitting like this, you'll watch that shoulder start to go, or that hand tap, or the foot, and then the whole body starts moving, and the eyes could be closed, and you say, "Would you like to dance?" No, no. But the body's still going.
I can't dance.
The body is
Yeah.
still going and reacting.
Yeah.
So it's quite amazing, to watch what happens, and what's stored in our brain. Is a procedural memory, or what's known in dance as muscle memory. So those movements are still there, and all you have to do is kind of tap on the door. I remember for some insane reason, when I was 24 years old, I decided to go back up on points.
Last year.
Yeah, last week. And I went back actually to my teacher, And, she kind of looked like, what are you doing here? And I said, I it's something I have to do. And the one thing she said to me as a child was that your muscles never forget. And obviously they don't. So all that muscle memory is stored within us. And dancing really is, it's like walking. If you walk, in opposition, and you dance the same way.
Yeah.
So if people just put on whatever song they like, and you'll find what happens in a group with those living with the disease, the interaction, the social interaction that occurs, people that perhaps didn't want to sit with someone, didn't want to talk with someone, it all changes. The dynamics of the room change when that activity occurs. People will watch a husband, come in, and the husband and wife dance, and then the focus is all on them. And you watch the sensitivity and the caring that goes on, and really the joy that the other people that are living in that environment just can feel. It just brings people together. There are amazing benefits to dance.
What I think is so interesting too is, we're talking about individuals living with Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Their movements are so different than they were before. They're more rigid, they're more sporadic, they lose control over their muscle movements. And what I think is so interesting, just by using music and rhythm and obviously not having a background in dance, is, really not having a background in dance.
But you are going to take a
But
dancing
I
lesson.
am. And I've said it on the air. Now I'm accountable. That's my next point. Is watching their movements get organized. It blows my mind every time I see it.
Music organizes your mind.
That's so cool. Yeah.
It just organizes our minds. And there's no rhyme or reason why. But all of a sudden, those rigid movements, if you dance with someone who is living with Parkinson's, you can actually feel their bodies relax. You can just feel all that tension kind of dissolve. We actually, and it's often stated that, people that do the tango, they'll say to you, my Parkinson's goes away. And to a point, for that moment.
Absolutely.
It kind of just, it's like a melting.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I really encourage, anyone on my team or as new therapists come up, don't lose sight of the importance of that quality of life.
I think that's what's so exciting, is that science is finally embracing the arts and all art, music, painting, drawing, dance. It all plays a very important part in our lives, no matter what the stage. I mean, we've actually had die in end stage cancer, and played a song at the last moment, and the connection between that husband and wife happened, and the next day, the wife had passed on, which was a very tender, sad but beautiful, moment.
Absolutely.
I think for me, the most one of the most rewarding things are people say, "What if someone isn't ambulatory?" So the syllabus will address all stages. If someone is early stage, and we will address that stage. We address the MCI stage, the mild cognitive impairment, to those that are seated in a wheelchair. It doesn't matter. The patterns are there for everybody. So it's not like people can't participate.
I love that. It's inclusive. It's, one of my favorite things to say in this setting is setting it up for success.
Right.
There are enough things for these individuals and their caregivers to get frustrated by, understimulated by, overstimulated by, because not one disease process is, not two are alike, and not two caregiving journeys are alike. So to set it up for success, to meet someone where they're at, and to train the dancers to be sensitive to that, it's invaluable. I mean, that is the key.
But it's not only that. When you're in in a community, when the residents watch some of the caregivers, care partners that are living with them and participating.
First of all, I love care partners.
Yeah.
That's my new favorite thing.
That's
Yes.
a new favorite
Yeah.
thing, and the new words are care partners and communities as opposed to facilities. So
Yeah.
I think everyone's becoming very sensitive to the language that we use. It's much more tender and
I
embracing
love
of si-
that.
of
I've never heard
situation.
care partner.
It's a relatively new terminology, so I oftentimes have to correct myself.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
So the when you have the staff in a building participating in this activity, it becomes such a joyous event because that person that might assist in activities that are not pleasant for a resident, bathing, medicine, grooming, all their ADLs, activities of daily living, suddenly there's a party going on. And they look at the staff in an amazingly different and fun kind of a way. So the energy in the room changes. The dynamics of the room change a lot.
Absolutely. It changes the environment,
Yeah.
for sure. It's almost impossible in the time we have together today, and we do have 15 more minutes to talk, but it's almost impossible to sum up everything. So we're going to say it again later, but just quick before we go to a commercial break, how can people learn more information about TAP, the Alzheimer's Project?
Well, you have the website, which is having a facelift at www.thealzheimersproject.org.
Okay.
And people can certainly feel free to, we have a Facebook page, and they can private message me. And also, I'm very happy to say that the company Caring People, a healthcare company in Broward, Dade, in Miami, the Miami area, and Palm Beach area, have embraced the project. So we will be putting on more and more of Dancing with the Stars in all
Awesome.
different places.
Wonderful.
And I'm humbled by the fact that the Alzheimer's Association has asked me to participate in the symposium and certainly to work with you because our paths have crossed.
Yes.
Along with
We have a full couple weeks coming up.
yeah, we do.
Absolutely. We're going to share a little bit more about that. Learn more about TAP and also talk a bit more. We've got a lot to do in 15 minutes about Dr. Beynon and her work. Just a lot of exciting stuff going on. You don't want to miss our last 15 minutes, so stick around. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You are listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree Beynon, here with my guest tonight, Judy Simon. Thank you again, Judy, for
Thank
being
you.
here. We're going to try to fit as much amazing information into this last segment as possible. Before we continue on our conversation, I do want to take a moment to recognize Dr. Connie Tomeno, who we've been referencing, who was going to call into the show tonight and take time. I mean, she's like teaching, doing a million things, wanted to take the time to speak with us. Unfortunately, was not able to do that, but did send in some information that is worth sharing, just to honor the incredible things that she's doing for the field and also the connection you all have made.
Right.
It's just, I had no idea. When we had this conversation to tie it all together, I was fangirling. It was very exciting. So, so here's a little brief bio that Dr. Tomeno sent down from New York to us. Dr. Conchetta Tomeno is the executive director and co-founder of the Institute for Music and Neurologic Function. She's a senior vice president for music therapy at Center Light Health System, where she's worked since 1980. Dr. Tomeno is internationally known for her research and lectures on the clinical applications of music and neurologic rehabilitation. Her work has been featured in the media, documentaries, and in books on health and healing. Dr. Oliver Sacks' book, Musicophilia, is dedicated to her. Dr. Tomeno is past president of the AMTA, American Music Therapy Association, and the faculty of the Albert Einstein College of Medicine and Lehman College, also CUNY. And this is some information she had sent over that speaks to her work with Dr. Oliver Sacks, which, again, if you are a bit nerdy when it comes to neurology and particularly the impact of arts and on the brain, which we are.
We are.
Which we very much are. This is work that'll be familiar to you. I remember being in AP Bio and watching Awakenings for the first time. I just thought, and I had no idea what I was going to do the rest of my life at that point, and I just was so touched by that. Now she's a music therapist who that work is based on. That is so cool. So this is early on, Dr. Tomeno met Dr. Oliver Sacks, a neurologist and author who had observed an amazing awakening triggered by music with his Parkinson's patients. Conchetta asked herself, how about people living with dementia? Why do they respond to music? Can we use music to maintain or even retrieve brain function? These questions fueled her research and inspired her pioneering work in music therapy and in the use of familiar music with people in end-stage dementia. She earned a doctorate in music therapy and was founder of the Institute for Music and Neurologic Function, or IMNF, an internationally recognized nonprofit agency offering music therapy programs to restore, maintain, and improve people's physical, emotional, and neurologic function. Conchetta and other researchers discovered a strong link between music, emotions, and memory. The human brain's auditory cortex is connected to the limbic system, which processes emotions and controls various aspects of memory. Areas of the brain associated with long-term memory and emotions connected quickly with sound. We believe music has unique powers to heal, rehabilitate, and inspire, Conchetta says. We're trying to understand how music reaches areas of the brain so we can create programs that draw out the fullest function, even when there is complex neurologic damage. This was the right person for you to get connected with.
Yes, it was.
Absolutely.
And I feel very lucky and honored to to been able to work with her in the institute and some of the other staff there. I had the pleasure of going to many of the IMNF benefits and went to the preview of the Glenn Campbell story, which was quite touching and amazing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was.
I can imagine. The name of this program, I named it Connections because I believe so firmly in the power of connecting, the human connections, connecting to our community. So I know there's a couple people that you also wanted to thank for bringing some of these projects to light.
I do. And coming down from New York, where this project really gave birth, and I'm grateful to all the communities that I worked in, and my dear associate Donna up north is just expanding the project there, and then coming down to Florida and having people really embrace the idea of this has been amazing. And I would certainly, like to thank iMatter Daycare for, where the project actually had its first start, down here, and Andrea, and to Heather over at Barrington Terrace, and also to Tequesta over at the
Brain matters.
Brain matters. I just had a brain freeze.
Talk about irony.
Inappropriate. Because without these people, it never would have happened. So I'm very, very grateful for their support and belief. And they've just taken the whole thing, and our event would not be possible without them. So.
That's wonderful. And again, we are talking about the Dancing with the Stars of Palm Beach, a benefit for the Alzheimer's Association and the Alzheimer's Project, which is Judy's project she's been talking about throughout the show. That is being held Thursday, September 22nd at 11:30 a.m. at the Beynon Women's Club at 1010 South Federal Highway in Boynton Beach. You cannot buy a ticket at the door, so you must go to Eventbrite in advance. Tickets are $50. So when you go to Eventbrite, search for Dancing with the Stars of Palm Beach. You may see some familiar faces from our community out there. Dancing with professionals from studios in the area?
From the Fred Astaire Boynton Beach studio, and they've been just fabulous in training everyone. And you can actually look on Facebook. I think there's a little thread of rehearsals, so to speak.
I love it. How fun is that? That is awesome.
A lot. We're looking forward.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to mention also, Bree, that people think of dance as it's fun, it's social, which it is, but dance is much more than that. Socially, and certainly socially engaging, especially for people that are living in certain communities, because just because of the environment that they're in, and even for people out in the world, so to speak, because if people are alone, single, or whatever, it's a place to join and meet. Dancing is very engaging, in partnering with somebody. And people say, well, I don't have a dance partner. You'll find one. Mm-hmm. Also, the physical attributes that it improves your balance, all your cardiovascular system, your cognitive skills. All those neurons get fired just from all the oxygen one is taking in. So it's. I would like to think that people understand the true benefits that dance has. Cognitively, you have to respond, you have to remember, it's repetition, and through repetition, it creates, memories that people have to remember and react to.
This is what does make me a little nervous about this muscle memory, is if I go back to my dance classes at 3, 4, and 5, it wasn't a real successful time for me, Judy, and I'm hoping this go around, now that you've announced on the show that I'm hoping my muscle memory has changed slightly since that time, because it really was a disaster.
Well, it's different. It's different. And
that's a nice way to put it.
We're all at different points of our lives when perhaps dancing was something that we had to do. You're doing this because it's a choice.
That's a good point.
So.
Yes, that's an excellent point. I appreciate that new way of looking at it. If you are someone interested in learning more about this program for your facility, for your loved one, as a participant, if you're a dancer who wants to get trained in this, or any questions you may have, how can they get in touch with you?
Again, they can look on the Facebook page and private message me. Go to the website, www.thealzheimersproject.org. And you and I are just out in the community enough. So
we're everywhere.
Which is really exciting. And I really look forward to working with you and
as
doing
do
all
I.
the exciting things that we hope to do.
As do I. I always try to give a charge out in this program. There's so much power in trying something new. Last week, if you watched, you saw me try to paint something. Yikes. But I tried it. I painted a pineapple. It was very exciting. I'm going to try my feet at ballroom dancing. So, Judy, what's one thing that you would be totally out of the box for you that would be something you could try?
Well, I am out of the box, so Probably skydiving.
Oh, would you do that?
No.
Oh,
I just answered the question.
okay. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. A couple weeks ago, I'm so glad I remembered this in our last minute today. I said, speaking of trying something new, try to listen to 5 new songs. Ask your family, your friends for 5 new songs. You've never heard a new artist. And I have to say that my mom and I did this today. Mom, and I don't have my phone in front of me, so I can't remember the artist. I'll say next week. But I loved your song choices. I'd never heard of these people before, and I thought I knew every bit of music that my mom knew, and she still got new. So listen to new music, paint a picture, go to a dance lesson, jump out of a plane, whatever it is. Do something to challenge yourself to go a little bit outside of the box. It's amazing. It's what we'll learn outside of our comfort zone. Judy,
Totally.
thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much.
My
I look
pleasure.
forward to.
I don't think this is the last time you'll be here.
I hope not.
Absolutely
And I look forward
not.
to the symposium on Friday.
As do I. You will find us up in the Treasure Coast. All right. Have a wonderful week. We will see you next week. Thank you for listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. We hope you enjoyed today's program and discovered new ways to bring music, art, and dance into your home or workplace. Please find a copy of today's show at pbmti.com. If you have any questions for our guest or myself, please email me at Bree, that's BREE, at pbmti.com, or call the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute at 561-747-9944. Tune back in next week for an all-new live show. See you then.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of